let's do this. Since I can't afford to go to therapy and don't have time to do therapy, I just wanted to sit and vent about everything that has been going on. And life has been nuts the past month. So, oh, what's wrong with here? Let's fix that situation. But in my last couple vlogs, you guys saw that I was going to an interview to be an ABA therapist or a behavioral therapist, whatever you want to call it. There's many names for it. And it was a very long process. It took about 2.5 weeks, and then I finally got the job, which was great. I was so excited. So during this whole process, I had to find a reliable babysitter or a reliable daycare for Bexley. And that, don't catch yourself on fire. That was a very stressful process. I went on care.com, which is an app where you can find babysitters, pet sitters, and just anything like that, house sitters. So I was interviewing, going to the people's houses, interviewing all these babysitters and daycares, and during that time, the worst thing that could happen happened during this whole process. So Maddox had a cold for about 2 weeks, and he was getting worse, like drastically worse. He woke up one day and he was coughing, gasping for air, he was gagging to the point where he was throwing up, and I was just so worried. I thought maybe he had asthma because it does run in the family, so I was really scared, and I took him to the urgent care because it was a Sunday, so the doctors were open, obviously. We waited at urgent care in the waiting room for 2.5 hours, and during this whole time, he was laying on the floor, he was throwing up, like he was not doing good. And finally, they called us back, and he ended up falling asleep on the doctor's table, and he wasn't really being himself at all. The doctor finally came in and asked, she's like, how long has he been this way? And I said, well, he's been sick for a couple weeks, but he just got worse this coming day. And she's like, well, he should not be this way. Like, he should not be falling asleep this easily. He should not be this out of it. This is not good. So she was like trying to wake him up and take his vitals, check his breathing and everything like that. So during this time, he was opening his eyes and waking up, but he would fall right back asleep. So she got really worried, I guess, and which I was worried too, but I don't know. I just tried to stay calm through the whole situation. And she's like, I'm not even going to charge you for this visit. You need to take him to the emergency room right now. So I started crying in front of everybody because I was so scared. I didn't know what was going on. I've never been told that I need to take my son to the emergency room that moment. So I was not only crying because I was afraid for Maddox's health, but I was also crying because I felt so bad for Maddox because he would wake up and be like, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm thirsty. Can you please go home? And so this probably might make me sound like a bad mom, but I promise I'm not a bad mom. Before we went to the emergency room, he was awake. He was doing good. After we left the urgent care, we stopped at the gas station just to get him a snack and a drink because I knew that once we get to the emergency room, they are not going to let him eat or drink anything. So I wasn't going to let him go all day without eating or drinking. So we did that. Then we went to the emergency room. They immediately checked him in. They put a mask on him because of how bad he was coughing. And after they checked us in, they did a swab up his nostrils, and he screamed and cried because they go way up there, and I felt so bad for him. And it was just to test for a bunch of things like influenza A, B, bronchitis, everything like that. They come back with the results and say that he has bronchitis and RSV. So the words RSV scared me really, really bad because you see all of these stories on social media of kids dying from RSV, mostly babies. So I was also very stressed out because I me having a 4-month-old, I'm like, what if she gets it? If she gets RSV, this is a whole nother story, and that can be very dangerous for her. I'm like, my 4-year-old can't even handle RSV that well right now. How would my 4-month-old handle RSV? So I was just very stressed out. So we were in the emergency room all night, and they put him on a breathing machine. I don't know what it's called, but it was just like a long tube, and it had steam to help him breathe and catch his breath, and that helped a lot for a while. And that's all I did that night, I believe. Yeah, that is all they did that night, and they sent us on our way and basically said, there's nothing you can do about RSV, you just have to let it ride out. And so we went home, and then that next morning he was doing even worse. We couldn't get his fever down. He was gasping for air even worse this day. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. I felt so helpless, and it was the worst I've ever seen my son. And I've seen him very, very sick. He's been hospitalized a few times as a toddler because of other issues, but this is the worst I've ever seen him, and I was really scared. So I said, I can't do this. We are going to another emergency room to get a second opinion. We get to another emergency room, and this was the worst day out of them all. They admit us, and they give him a steroid in his lungs. They give him a bunch of medicines to take his fever down, to make him more comfortable. And then I can't think of the word, the people that specialize in breathing and lungs, respiratory therapists, that's what it's called. They came in and said, I'm gonna need you to wrap him up in a blanket and hold him down, because what I'm about to do, he's not going to like. So I had a panic attack, like a legit panic attack. I had to leave the room because I just kept crying. They didn't even tell me what they were gonna do to him, but just hearing that I would have to hold him down, I really freaked out. So I had to have Chris do it because I couldn't do it. But basically what they did was shove a tube up his nose and down his throat to suction out his lungs, and this made him gag and throw up. So then they were worried that he might have inhaled some of his vomit, so they had to listen for his breathing for a little while longer because of that. But it turned out everything was good. He didn't inhale any vomit, but that part was horrible. Like, it was so sad. Yeah, just thinking about it makes me upset, actually. After they did that, it was not very successful, and they sent us on our way home, and they said the same thing as the last ER, you have to just let RSV ride it out. So I was going through all of this while trying to go to, like I said, interviewing daycares, and yeah, it was just stressful. And I was also at the end of my last class that I was taking for school. I ended up failing that class because since I was in the hospital with Maddox for those 2 days, I missed one of my tests, and it made me fail the class. So I have to take that whole class all over again. But that's okay. Maddox is doing very well now, just a light cough. So that's all that matters. I'll retake the class if I have to. But so that was going on. And then I started my new job after Maddox was doing a little bit better. It's going pretty well. I like it. I work with kids that have mental disabilities or any type of issue such as autism, anger management problems, eating disorders. I help them get through that kind of situation. So I'm learning a lot. It's very stressful, and I have to be registered for my job within the next 6 weeks, which requires a lot of testing at home. And all of those tests, I have to get a 90% or higher to pass. And it is, when I say a lot of testing, I mean at least 20 tests. So I've been trying to do all of my testing, and I'm still in school full time. I'm in a math class, so I'm trying to do all of that, trying to work, and then Bexley gets sick. My little girl gets sick. So I immediately freak out thinking that she has RSV now. So I take her to the doctor, and they say that she has no signs of RSV. It's just a bad cold. So thank God for that. But she has a runny nose, a bad cough, no fever, but she's still pretty miserable. She's doing okay though. That's about it. I've been dealing with a lot of sickness this month. Chris has been sick like 3 times. I haven't, knock on wood, I have not been very sick this month yet. Like, I feel like now that I'm saying that, I'm gonna get really sick, which I really hope not because of everything that's going on. But anyway, I know I said I would upload at least 2 videos a week. That is not going to happen as far as me trying to get registered for work and finish all these testings and catch up with my grades and fix everything that's been happening. I will upload as much as I can. It's not even because I don't even have that many subscribers. It's just something that I enjoy doing. I like to sit in front of a camera and talk and vent and edit it, and it gives me something to do other than parenting, school, and work. But thank you so much for watching, and if you listened through all of this, thank you. Seriously, it means a lot. And if you are a working mom or a full-time student mom, leave a comment down below because I need some mom friends who understand what I'm going through. It's hard, it really is, but I will see you guys as soon as I can at the next video. Thank you.